Welcome to this edition of Cibola Treasures. I'm Barbara Wesley, your host. This edition will feature Thomas Whalen, who is the CEO at Cibola General Hospital, and then Robert Windhorst, who's our new county commissioner, and Ashley Gallegos. She is the new executive director for Grants Main Street. So stay tuned.
El Cafecito is an icon on historic Route 66 in Grants, serving your friends, family, and visitors for 30 years. The aroma of their famous chili welcomes you as you enter. Their friendly, efficient staff greets you. What's your favorite, red or green? El Cafecito prepares your favorite chili fresh every day. A visit to the spotless kitchen reveals where the award-winning chili is made. The efficient staff are preparing El Cafecito's famous meals you can count on. The best service every day. It's always time to go to El Cafecito. If you enjoy breakfast, you'll love breakfast at El Cafecito. Try one of the top 10 rated burritos in the state of New Mexico. Or maybe you're in the mood for eggs, bacon, and hash browns with green chili. There are so many items on the menu, even French toast. Ready for lunch? Hamburgers with French fries is a great choice. Make dining out for dinner special. Try the steak prepared just the way you like it. It's a meal you will tell your friends about. Sopapillas are good any time of the day. And that's not all. El Cafecito has just the right venue for your receptions, banquets, special occasions, and business meetings. Utilize the state-of-the-art electronics for the perfect professional presentation. Late for work or need a meal quickly? Call 285-6229. The drive-up window will have your orders in a jiffy. El Cafecito is famous for the best New Mexican food and their friendly, fast service. Located at 820 East Santa Fe Avenue.
Welcome to this segment of Cibola Treasures. In our studio today is someone that some of you know and some of you may not know, and it's Thomas Whalen. And Thomas, I'd like for you to tell our audience what your role is in our community.
Well, I am the Chief Executive Officer or the CEO of Cibola General Hospital. I came right at the end of February and have settled in, I hope, very well here.
Good. So it'll soon be a year.
Correct.
Okay. And where did you come from?
I was born in Massachusetts.
Okay.
But my dad was in the Air Force, so we traveled around a lot, including Colorado Springs, where he taught history, and then also Denver for a stint with the University of Denver, but mostly Midwest. And recently moved from a small community of about 3,500 people in Lodi, Ohio,
Okay.
south of Cleveland.
Wonderful. Okay, this is quite a change. Well, it's not really, because you've been accustomed to the Southwest.
Correct. I've been able to see a lot, both from my parents and then me raising our children. I've lived, I think I went to 12 different schools in my life and lived in 10 different states, I think. So I've been chased out of a lot of good places.
Okay. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen here.
Correct.
Because we want to keep you here.
Good.
Right? So We're going to talk about a variety of things that we have discussed earlier, and uh, you have just completed a 3-year plan.
A community health needs assessment,
Okay.
correct. It is a requirement by the federal government that every hospital in the country do a needs assessment, look at the community, and see what needs there are, and then do what we can as a hospital to meet those needs. And so we did just complete that, and it is on our website if anybody wants to take a look at that.
Okay.
But it identified basically 6 areas, the top 6, that actually were the same 6, just in different order 3 years ago. But the needs that we have in the community are addressing substance abuse,
Right.
obesity, mental health and suicide, affordability, diabetes, and cancer testing. Those
Okay.
are the areas that we've identified, and we weren't the only ones who spoke up. It were people in the community, professionals, that we did a number of rounds of surveys asking them what they see, what they see in their offices, and it isn't just physicians, but all different types of
Sure.
professionals, and then what they're doing and what they identify as what we need to continue to do to be able to serve the people in
And so
Cibola
the
County.
number one was substance abuse?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know that Cibola County, along with 4 other counties, have the highest risk in the state of New Mexico for substance abuse?
The highest risk. Yeah.
One
That-
of the 5 highest counties in the state for substance abuse.
and I just read an article the other day that rural settings, the use of opioids and other things is getting worse and worse in the rural setting. We tend to think, the big cities, downtown, they have the problems, but it's something that every socioeconomic level faces, and it's sad that we have that risk. But if we, the hospital, along with other professionals and even the community themselves, educate ourselves about it and support one another to, maybe avoid, or if there is a problem. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of services locally, but if we can, on the education side, try and keep people from trying different things and getting hooked, then we can do our part to try and address the problem.
And I think that it really starts in elementary school and then moving on up the ladder. I believe that helping our youngsters understand, we only have one brain. God did not give us a recharge. Right?
That's
I
right.
mean, you can't plug into the socket and get the brain fix.
Right.
And so when the damage is done to the brain, it's permanent.
Correct. And so even something as simple as alcohol, that leads into other things. And you have to recognize, and in my family, I come from a family of 12 kids, and I have 6 siblings who don't drink anymore because we did get the gene from my dad's side. And if you recognize that you can't control it yourself, then you have to say no and just stop it. Otherwise, do it in moderation and controlling. But if you realize, you have to come to realize it, if you can't control it, you just have to cut it off.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Now, you have a vision for the hospital.
I do.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
I think when I was interviewed for the position a year ago, what I heard from the board members and from community and from the hospital, we have a good little hospital here. And that's something to be very proud of. But my view is that good gets in the way of great. And so my vision is to work with our staff, work with our medical staff, so that every experience that you have when you come to the hospital, whether it's through the ER or coming for lab work or x-ray or therapy, that every experience is a good experience, recognizing you're not in the best of moods, let alone the best of health. but make that experience the best that it can be, so that in 5 years, when we're going out to different community activities, then I'm going to start hearing from people like you and others in the community. That is a great little hospital. So it's one word, but it means a lot. And sometimes good gets in our way of great.
Right. Well, we're going to finish out our interview with great because I have some great examples that we talked about before. And we'll finish it up with that, if that's
Wonderful.
okay with you.
Then-
And you have received an award, and this is the third year in a row. So tell our audience what that's all about.
The government wants good things for us. Sometimes the approach isn't one that we like. But they're back when President Bush, the second President Bush, was in office, then they thought it would be a great idea for every hospital to be connected with an electronic medical record. And in order to do that, in order to get cable to your house, you need dark wire to be able to be run. And then you can get to the point where you have Wi-Fi and wireless Bluetooth and things like that. Same with the hospital. And we received for the third year in a row to be one of the most wired hospitals in the country. The Hospital and Health Care News, which is a weekly magazine, a journal that comes out in our industry, and they do a survey every year looking to see how wired hospitals are to be able to, both within the hospital, be able to communicate about a patient's medical condition from department to department, but then also to be able to communicate that out to the doctor's offices, out to Boca Raton, Florida, if you go down there for vacation and get sick. And so we're one of, and I don't know how many, there are 5,000 hospitals in the country, and I don't know how many got this award, but we're, for the third year in a row, recognized as one of the most wired in the country.
Wonderful. Now, we have a little bit of a controversy going on with the county. And
Oh, we do.
we do. And so perhaps you would like to address that at this time.
I would. Manager Boyd talked to me when I first came and said that one of the things that he's doing as a new manager is he needs to evaluate all of the property that the county owns. And so he brought in somebody and they were doing evaluation on each one of their buildings. And I did talk to him and he asked for our input. Hospitals aren't like a typical building. We have to be much safer because we have people in our hospital 24 hours a day. So the construction is different, the wiring is different, plumbing is different. We have medical gases that run through the hospital. So when Mr. Boyd said that he wants to do evaluation of the hospital, then we said, okay, and we're actually helping pay for part of that valuation. At the same time, we talked about that there have been some times in the past, in the recent past, where the county commissioners and the hospital don't always see eye to eye. And a few years back, apparently there was, I don't know if threat is the right word, but that type of a challenge that the commissioner said, we'll just sell you to somebody if you are a problem. And so with the valuation of the building was also discussion of maybe we should separate and no longer be a component unit of the county. And so the big controversy now, I guess, is if we are to be sold, to whom would we be sold and for how much? And so part of the valuation would help us putting a dollar amount to that. But as you might have read in the paper or seen here, there's a belief by a number of people in the community, as well as our board, that the hospital belongs to the community. And so for the county to sell the hospital back to the residents who basically already own it as a component unit of the county, that it shouldn't be a big expense. And so I think that's the big discussion. And then on our side, so the board is willing to do that, but not to sell to some company down in Texas, which was actually a company that we used to do the valuation. There aren't a lot of companies in the country that look at hospitals and other medical facilities and can evaluate them. So we did bring in a company from Texas, but it isn't a company that buys hospitals.
Okay.
It just evaluates their value. And they came in, and so the county has that information, and we'll start talking about, is this the right time? And to be honest, I think it is. I've met the county commissioners, the ones who have just recently stepped off the commission, and I've talked with one, and I know the other two new commissioners that are coming on board. And there is a very good relationship between the county and the hospital. And so if we're a different animal than the county. So if it is the right time, if we are ever going to sell the hospital from the county back to the community, this would be the right time, because it's not anybody threatening anybody. We're just looking at it and saying, is this the right thing to do
Right.
for the people in the community?
Right. Well, we need to take a quick break, but we will be right back because Mr. Whalen has so much more to share with us. So don't go away. Stay tuned.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life. Somebody from my hometown. Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Oh no, maybe he'll give me a warning.
108 regional. I'll be on a traffic stop.
105.
I'm with the Cibola County Sheriff's Office. The reason I'm stopping you is because you weren't maintaining your lane. Do you have your driver's license, registration, and insurance with you today?
Yes, I do.
Sir, have you consumed any alcohol today?
No, I haven't.
I can smell alcohol coming from the vehicle, sir. Are you sure?
Okay, maybe I had 2 beers.
Sir, place your hands behind your back for me. I'm going to be placing you under arrest for DWI.
Well, we're back with Thomas Whalen, who is the CEO of Cibola General Hospital, and we are moving on through some topics. For example, what is the newest technology that you now have at the hospital?
Well, I'm really excited to talk about a technology that isn't here yet, but by the end of February, we'll have 3D mammography. So right now, you can come and should, if you have if you're of age and need to be checked regularly, as well as self-exam for breast cancer, come for a mammography. And the equipment that we have right now is very good, and it's only about 5 years old, but technology just moves so quickly that we are going to be bringing in 3D mammography. So it'll give the radiologists and the surgeons and even your primary care doc better images of the breast to be able to pick up maybe some type of a smaller cell mass that they can look at and see we might need to do something. So it's another measure of technology to act quicker in being able to save women and men. There's about 1% of breast cancer in men from dying from that terrible disease.
Sure. And we talked about your new equipment that you've got.
Yeah, along with 3D that is coming for mammography, we just put in another laparoscopic tower in our surgery department. And so the way technology advances, in the old days, when we did have to have procedures done, the doctor would open us up, so a larger incision in our abdomen area. With laparoscopic surgery, they do 3 little holes, use the different scopes and things to go into the body without invading the body on a big scale. And so we just put in a second tower to make it easier for either one surgeon to transition from one patient when they finish up to the others, while our staff cleans up the room and cleans up the equipment if they have a third case, or that we can have 2 surgeons operating at the same time. And so it makes for faster turnaround for the physician being in the patient. I mean, the big thing, in order to avoid infection, which then could potentially run the risk of dying, if we're quick about our procedures, if we're, maintain hygiene, hand hygiene, and keeping things sterile, then that reduces the risk of an infection on a patient and keeps them living for years and years.
Right. Now, approximately how many patients do you serve in a fiscal year?
We see through the emergency room about 10,000 patients that come through, some from accidents off of the interstate. My mom just suffered a heart attack on December 12th, and so she went to an emergency room. She's in the St. Louis area, so not here. But seeing those things that are more local, that are traumatic, as well as some of the bumps and bruises and stuff that people go to. I mean, I encourage them to utilize our primary care physicians, but if they aren't connected with a primary care physician, or if it happens at 2 o'clock in the morning and you bash your head, well, then we want you to come in so that we can fix you up. So about 10,000 there. We do about 220 births a year here at the hospital. And in order to have that service, we need to have 24/7 anesthesia available and surgeons to be able to do C-sections if we have to. And so we have, as well as the nursing team, the surgical team, to be able to serve that. So we have that for about 220 births a year. Inpatient, we have about 2,300 to 2,500 admissions a year. And that might not seem like a whole lot, and it isn't compared to years past, because both at this hospital and any hospital across the country, things have become much more outpatient oriented. And so when you look at the number of encounters that we have for outpatients, for coming in for lab, x-ray, going to the doctor's office at our clinic, we don't count Presbyterian Medical Center in these numbers. But at the Cibola Family Care Center, we have about 45,000 visits a year. So it keeps our staff busy, keeps us on our toes, which makes us better clinicians. And I say us, I'm not a clinician. I got my degree in business and then my master's in hospital administration. But it's a great honor to be able to work with physicians and nurses and techs that have the education and the skills to be able to serve the patients when they present. Even if it's a traumatic thing that we may not be able to, we don't have a neurosurgeon,
Right.
we don't have a cardiovascular surgeon, but we have the staff on hand and the training that they need to be able to stabilize a patient so that they can be flown or go by ground to Albuquerque or wherever. If somebody has a doctor up in Utah, then we've known for either a fixed wing or a helicopter to run them up back to their facility.
Okay. So that's roughly 55,000 visits.
Yes, ma'am. On
Okay.
an outpatient basis. So we see a lot of people. Have plenty of room for any others who need an x-ray or a mammography or lab work. We're here to serve.
Okay.
And when you look at a community hospital, whether it's here or anywhere else in the country, you can get probably about 85% of the care that we need on a basic basis at your community hospital.
Sure.
You don't have to go to the big facilities.
Well, I was not here during the uranium boom, but I understand that early on there was no hospital here.
It wasn't until 1959
Right.
when the first hospital was built, and it's where our parking lot is now.
Sure.
And then the county built this hospital that we have now about 16 years ago.
Okay. Well, I think we're fortunate to have that hospital here. I really do. And how has the Affordable Care Act impacted the fiscal responsibilities of the hospital?
Whether it came into being or not wouldn't matter. If a patient presents and they need health care, need emergency care, emergency surgery, we're going to provide that, and we did in the past and will continue in the future. But the Affordable Care Act actually made it a little bit easier for some of those patients that did not have insurance before, that they have insurance now, and so we do get paid something. It's not usually a whole lot, but not as much as Medicare, and Medicare isn't a lot. But we do get something, where in the past we just had to write off many of those cases as bad debt because people didn't have insurance and they didn't have a way to cover it.
And does the county have an indigent fund that you can, does the city have one also, or just the county?
I don't know if the city does, but the county does have an indigent fund. It's the way that the state has set up regulations, it's really difficult to get to. So the fund is there, but it's a little bit of a challenge to get the dollars. But we do have a very friendly commission, and so we are talking about ways that we might be able to help. Because when we look at this fiscal year of the hospital, we're not as strong as we have been in years past. And so having the levy that was passed by the community, and I think I was told that 78% of the people in the community voted to continue the levy, and we're very grateful for that because that's over $1 million to help with our bottom line and keep the doors open.
Well, I want to talk about some great things that I have experienced because many of you know that I was the elder hostel coordinator for the university, and many times people would come here and become ill. And what I saw in two specific cases, life-saving care that occurred at our local hospital, those two people would not have lived had it not been for the diagnosis that was made very quickly and then getting them either cared for and stabilized here or airlifting them to Albuquerque. And even though that meant longer hours for us, because if they were transferred to Albuquerque, we were going to Albuquerque every day to check on those patients, right?
Wow.
But I saw the care that was given here, and one lady had seen her doctor before she came here. She was from Boca Raton, Florida, and after I think that she had a problem with altitude sickness, and she said, it would have taken me over a week just to see a doctor.
Wow.
And so we got her into the emergency room. She was cared for right away. She was treated. It was all good, and she was able to come back and join us and have the fun that we had on these trips that we took.
That's wonderful.
So I'm grateful for the hospital here, and to be able to come here instead of having to go to Albuquerque or Gallup. We are blessed.
Well, thank you. And I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Well, when you see Mr. Whalen, would you just tell him that you've seen him and welcome him to our community if you haven't done so already? I want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to thank you also for joining us today.
Riverside Auto Diesel is the place to go for everything mechanical. Bicycles, motorcycles, RVs, cars, and semis too. Car a little sluggish? Riverside Auto Diesel can fix you up with routine oil changes and a tune-up. Then your car or truck will have superb engine performance. Tires for every truck or car are available at Riverside Auto Diesel. You'll experience the difference with the right tire for your vehicle. Transmissions need routine service. Don't get caught in the middle of nowhere with a transmission failure. A cool car is a pleasure to drive when the weather is not. An air conditioner leak can be repaired and you're off to an enjoyable summer. When your car breaks down or you have an unfortunate accident, Riverside Auto Diesel has road service and towing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Friendly, knowledgeable, ASE certified mechanics. Riverside Auto Diesel is New Mexico state approved. For all of your mechanical and automotive needs, see Keith Ford at Riverside Auto Diesel, located at 1433 East Old Historic Route 66. Call 287-3543 or 290-7459.
Welcome to this segment of Cibola Treasures. We're here with Ashley Gallegos. And Ashley, why don't you tell our audience there's something new in your life? What are you doing for the City of Grants?
So I'm the new executive director for the Grants Main Street project, and we have a lot of fun projects planned, and I'm so excited.
Wonderful. Now, you've been with Grants Main Street as a part-time employee.
Mm-hmm.
And for how long?
March will be 3 years.
Okay, so you have the background of what has transpired over that 3-year period. And so when we talk about some of the new things that are in the mill, let's identify some of those.
Okay, so the first biggest thing that we're doing is a new signature event in June. And it's called 7 Cities of Gold Geo Tour Adventure.
Geo Tour Adventure. Okay, so tell me what this is all about, because we know we are the gem of New Mexico, right? So what are we doing with this 7 Cities of Gold?
So what it is we have 7 designated trails throughout Cibola County, and we will have 7 geocaches on each trail. And geocaching is basically a real-world treasure hunt. You use GPS or you can use your smartphone to find them. And there's over 800 million people around the world that geocache, and 1.4 million in the United States alone. And these people love to travel, and the harder it is to find, the better it is.
Okay. Well, we have some places to hide things that are hard to find, right? Well, that sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah.
Exciting. So what else? That's in June. What else do you have planned?
So in March, on March 18th, we will have a how-to geocaching workshop. It's like a workshop / mini event, and we'll have entertainment, local food vendors, and we will be doing a raffle to give away a GPS.
Oh, that sounds like fun too. So if you want to know what this is all about, you can come March 18th and learn and perhaps win a prize. I can recall several years ago, the university had a program. They didn't call it geocaching, but you used maps and scientific data and so forth to find. Basically, that's the same type of thing, except we're doing it now with more advanced electronics, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I recall that there was a lot of fun doing that because people couldn't read the maps. They'd get lost, or they would say, "Oh, I know exactly where that is," and then they'd be off the trail or off the mark by maybe 100 yards and never get back to where they were supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it was lots of fun. And I think Mike Leach was involved in that project when we were doing it at the college. I think that was even one of his classes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we know that a lot of people like to be outside. They like the outdoors, and Cibola County is the perfect place to do it. You know, we have so many national monuments and beautiful hiking trails, and it's not just for hikers or bikers. It's for off-roading and horseback riding, and we even have we have trails that are just specific for certain things, and then they have different levels from beginner to intermediate and advanced.
Right. Okay, good. Well, that sounds like an exciting thing. So March we've got covered. June we've got covered. Now what else is going to be happening?
So you know Charlie's Radiator Shop,
Yes.
right? Okay, so I am hoping that very soon we can do a facade squad on that building. It is nationally registered as a historical landmark.
Right.
So a lot of people do like to stop there when they're traveling Route 66. But right now it's not in the best of shape.
Right.
So I would love to get that building looking good, possibly have a local artist paint cars on the garage doors to look like it originally did. And that's just the beginning. I want to do a lot of facade squads, get businesses in the downtown, get more people down there, improve quality of life.
Right, absolutely. So, and that's been something that's been in the mill off and on for a number of years, is Charlie's Radiator Shop. Okay, so what else is going on?
I'm hoping that we can get the Old Pat's Lounge registered as a historical building and see if we can get the new owners those tax credits to fix it up, get their new business in there, and get it up and running.
Good, because I've thought many times, if that was converted back into a hotel, how many more people would be attracted to be there? Several years ago, I happened to be in Las Vegas, and they have a historical hotel in Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Nevada. But it was, at one time, Las Vegas was the hub for the railroad, and all of those historical buildings in downtown Las Vegas have brick there because they were bringing in brick, and so it was a phenomenal place. I happened to be there. They just had the little restaurant or coffee shop open, but they hadn't completed the renovations of the rooms, but they let me walk through some of them. It was phenomenal. So we could be doing that with our spot here too. I've
Yeah.
often thought of it.
And you're referring to the Plaza Hotel, correct?
The one in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, I was there just in October, and it's beautiful, and you can feel the history when you're in there. And if we can do something like that in Grants, in our downtown area, that would be perfect.
It would be, because it would draw people. I mean, even when the hotel was not finished, the dining room was full.
Yes. Yeah, when I was there, there was a ton of people. You couldn't even park anywhere. You had to park way down the street, but it's beautiful there, and I love their history, and I hope that we can maintain our history and keep our downtown looking like it once did, because people that travel Route 66, that's what they want to see.
Absolutely. You're right on the ball there. So we've got, if that would be great if we could do something with the hotel. Now, what's the next? And then there are other facades in our community. I look at the area where, let's see, the Martins had their shop. That was one of the first ones on Main Street to be, the facade to be redone, where that, what is it, the medical supplies in that area, and the gun shop is in that area. It's in that same block. But Martin's was the first one to do something. They have that gift shop there that's been for sale for a while.
The Countless Treasures?
No, that's across the street.
Okay, I'm trying to think
This
of which
is
one.
this is on the south side of the street.
Is it next to the Outreach Center?
The outreach center is west of there.
Okay. Okay, I know which little area you're talking about, but I'm not sure which building, because I know there's a vacant one in there that is like a gift shop,
Right.
but it's not open.
Right. That was the very first one.
Oh,
And then
okay.
they retired, and they've been wanting to sell it. I mean, it's been for sale and about a couple of times a year they'll come in and open it up and sell what they, have a sale, and then go back and vacation.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're doing. But I think that that medical supply on the corner and then the Martins that had theirs, those were the two original ones, and that's been almost, well, it was done when Carmen Morin was the director. I think she was the first director for Grants Main Street.
Oh, okay. So almost 30 years ago.
Long time.
Yeah. So I do know that one thing that we have in our district is so many vacant buildings. So many are for sale or they're just not doing anything with it.
Right.
And, it's difficult to figure out what they want and what their needs are. But I am hoping that very soon we can start a business development fund. That
Okay.
way we can help these businesses in our district with what they need.
Okay.
Either give them a 50-50 match in a grant or have some kind of limit to what we can just give them to help them.
Right.
And I'm hoping that with this we can get these businesses more revenue.
Okay. Now you have a new board,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there are 4 points that Main Street focuses on. What are those 4 points?
Promotion, organization, design, and economic vitality.
And do you have all of those chair board positions filled?
We have 2 filled.
Okay, what do you need right now?
So we need promotions and design.
Promotions and design. Okay. So if you're interested in working with Grants Main Street, they've got a new board. They need volunteers. This organization thrives on people coming in and sharing their talent and their skills to move things forward in our community.
Yes.
So is there anything else that you want to share with the community?
Nope. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, there's a lot going on because this geocaching is a phenomenal thing that's, I think, I've observed some. There's been an event in Gallup that I observed. Lots of fun, lots of activity, and it brings people into our community. I wish you tremendous success, Ashley, and hopefully we will have people just banging on your door saying, "Let me in and come help."
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. And thank you for tuning in to this segment of Cibola Treasures.
We had been called up for the first time. Wildfires were getting close to homes. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is.
Be there for your community at NationalGuard.com.
Welcome to this segment of Cibola Treasures. In our studio today is Robert Windhorst, and Robert is the new county commissioner for District 4. Okay. And District 4 includes Milan and...
All the areas up through Blue Water Acres
Okay.
and in between.
Okay, very good. All right. That's a big area too, isn't it?
Yes.
We just talked about our county and how big our county is. We have 3 native tribes in our community, in our county, and we have several Hispanic villages in our county. And we tend to think that everything is just right in Milan and Grants, that's where the action is. But there are lots of things and a lot of needs in our county. So as you look at what you perceive to be the needs in our county, what do you believe they are?
Well, we have lots of needs, especially infrastructure needs. We have roads that need to be fixed. We have other infrastructure issues that need to be addressed. But we have to look at the county as a whole, and we have to prioritize according to that need, and make decisions that way as to which roads get fixed. And we have limited money. The state is broke, and they have already told us to cut back 10% this year, and maybe another 10% next year, which will give us less money to work with, as a commission, to be able to take care of infrastructure needs. But we have a very capable Gary who works for the county, handles all their road issues. He's the one that prioritizes what needs to get done and how we can afford to do it. We decide how we can afford to do it. And then he's given direction by the county manager, and he goes right ahead and does it. So infrastructure issues are a big thing. And some of the other challenges I see are jobs, job growth, economic growth. I think with the new administration in Washington, D.C., I see great hope for our country and for our state for economic growth. I think that we're heading in the right direction, opening up all the economic avenues, dropping regulations that have bound us for a long time and kept us from profiting as we should.
Okay, but you've mentioned federal, but the local. As a county commissioner, what would you do to bring jobs to our county?
Well, I believe there's 5 county commissioners, and there's 5 different districts in our county. I believe that what we will do, and what I know I will do, is we will all work together to, as ambassadors, to invite more people, more leadership from our state to come and visit so they can see what we have to offer and also give us the opportunity to showcase all the natural beauties that we have here in the county. One of the things that I personally have done in my work for the City of Grants, which I will continue to do for the county, is cleanup. Cleaning up our city, cleaning up our county, so that we can invite people into our area and receive that low-hanging fruit of revenue that comes from tourism. And I'm very much dedicated to that. We've already seen in Grants a big increase in tourism over the last year, and we've been very excited about that opportunity. Well, we also saw some jobs that were saved in Cibola County recently when they announced the closure of CCA in Milan and mining jobs for Peabody. Well, those were saved, and now I understand Peabody is hiring more. CCA has need for over 100 jobs. They need 100 employees to man their facility in Milan. And so between the two, I really believe that shows some opportunity. But I think we can do much more. I saw a piece on 60 Minutes a couple weeks ago that talked about the importance of, it showed a man down in Mississippi who became a booster for the community. And he would go out and he would invite companies to come in and do business there. And he's brought in over $6 billion into that small little Mississippi community. And I'd like to get a copy of that piece and show it to the commission so that we can get a broader idea of some of the things that we can accomplish together.
Okay. You mentioned tourism. How would you promote tourism for the county? What are your concepts or ideas for promoting that?
Well, we have within Cibola County some of the most beautiful, for one thing, La Mosca Peak. Mm-hmm. I think that as a commission, we should continually petition our leaders in Washington to give us the backing to pave a road up to the top of La Mosca Peak. When Les Gaines came up with that idea, I thought, that is brilliant. La Mosca Peak is, they say in elevation, is one of the top 5, it would be the highest place that you could get to by a road, the top 5. And it would be the highest in New Mexico. That in itself would be a great draw for tourism dollars. And it would make it easier for them to access La Mosca Peak because
Sure.
it's quite a hike.
Yes, it is.
It's quite a hike. You can go up by horseback, but this would give more people an opportunity to drive up there and see the beautiful view. We have El Morro. We have Acoma, Sky City. We have so many beautiful places.
We do.
And we need to spread the word.
Okay. So when we look at the challenges in Cibola County, what are some of the challenges that we have?
One of the big challenges we have right now is economics in general. I believe that we have not been very careful about spending our money. And as a result, we are struggling. Our county is struggling financially with the building of the La Mesa Mall, the purchase of the La Mesa Mall, and the rebuilding it. My personal feeling is that government should never be getting involved in a project like that, purchasing something that could have been used as a mall for someone else. They could have torn that mall down and built it a lot cheaper. And I look at the overall cost of it and how expensive I think it's going to be. But having said that, it's built, it's done. Now we need to live with it. Now we need to bring in the money and have economic growth so that we can afford to pay for it, because we're going to be paying for it for the next 30 years. And so another thing that we need to be more careful about, we have a knee-jerk reaction whenever we have shortfalls, is to raise taxes. And Cibola County, we have some of the highest gross receipts taxes in the state. And we're also one of the poorest counties in the state. And I think that we need to learn to work with the budgets that we have and stay within those budgets. I think we need to pay off our debts. And I would propose, and I have been proposing ever since I decided to run, that we sell all county property that is not being used and get it off the county rolls and get it back on the tax rolls. We have the Knights of Columbus building. We have 120 something lots in San Rafael. We have areas, we have properties all over the place that could be sold. And they've been appraised. Some of them have been appraised, but I think we need to find buyers for them and then put them back on the tax rolls so that we can pay off our debts. That's what we need to do.
Okay. And I've asked this question in the past of various leaders. What is your vision? What is your vision for Cibola County?
Ever since I've moved here, I have been moved by the great beauty of this place, but I've also been a little surprised that it is, economically and everything else, it's somewhat backwards. I believe, being that we live so close to the freeway, we have the freeway that goes right by our cities and through our county, why we don't suck off more of that business and use that freeway to gain more revenue for our area. I also have been shocked and surprised when the movement to stop the coal industry from working. We need to continue to press forward and use the natural resources that we have in the state responsibly so that we can keep our country going. I was on my way out of town and I stopped in Thoreau and I watched the coal train go by. And it was on its way to, I think, over to Tri-State. And, I am surprised how clean burning their facility is over there, how much coal it uses, and how cheap the electricity is that comes from that place.
Well, you know, the coal that we have here is called subbituminous coal,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and it is the cleanest burning coal that's available. So we have that clean burning coal that's just naturally here in our area. There are other places in the country that have dirty coal, and it is a pollutant. But we have the subbituminous coal that's a clean burning coal.
Well, it's beautiful, and I'll tell you, Tri-State provides a lot of electricity, maybe not directly to our area, but to the areas that it does service, provides a lot of electricity, and we need to continue to build our electrical grid and strengthen it so that we have plenty of energy for this country. You know, whether it's nuclear, whether it's coal, we should use what we have.
Okay. Well, we're just about out of time, and I wanted to let you introduce you as one of our new county commissioners and get your ideas on some challenges and things that you were going to do to remedy some of the challenges that we face.
Well, thank you, Barbara. I want to, I know that I raised a large family, and when you have a large family, you learn to control your budget. And I believe that we need to control our budget with the county here, and I am determined to do that. I'm determined to strengthen our economy, to build the economy here, to invite new business here. I'm working with President Carruthers, the president of NMSU, former governor of New Mexico, and opening trades classes so that we can train our people here to take good technical jobs and to be able to do what we need to do.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure, always. Thank you, Barbara.
And thank you for joining us.
Rochelle of First Street Cafe has been known as the Pie Lady for years. 2 years in a row, First Street Cafe has received the Best Dessert designation by the Grant Cibola County Chamber of Commerce. Just a few of the breakfast items include quiche with fresh fruit, First Street's breakfast burrito, and check out the huge pancake. Lunch features a French dip sandwich with homemade potato salad. The special soup of the day and sandwich is sure to satisfy. First Street's chili bean soup is a crowd pleaser. The menu for breakfast and lunch offers a selection that will make your meal ever so special. Let's save room for dessert. Homemade coconut cream pie is a favorite, and it sells out quickly. Let's not forget the pecan pie and the cheesecake. Sugar-free desserts are available too. Rochelle and her staff welcome you to the best dessert in Cibola County. Plus, there's so much more to enjoy at First Street Cafe, located at 1600 West Santa Fe Avenue. For takeout orders, call 287-7111.
If you keep tanning, the effects of harmful rays will show up on your skin. Time may not be on your side. Learn how to protect your skin at spotskincancer.org.
Winter has arrived in Grants and Cibola County, so just be careful. The streets are icy many times, and we are now starting our winter season late here in January. We want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of Cibola Treasures, brought to you by our phenomenal sponsors. Thank you.